Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Reverend Mary Murray Shelton, the community spiritual leader here. And good morning to those of you who are with us online this morning. We have a bunch of stuff going on following the celebration service this morning. So if those of you at the Ukraine table wouldn't mind toning down the conversation, we're starting the service. So we welcome all of you, and we're looking forward to a wonderful morning. Now you can make noise because I'm going to have you say hello to each other. So everybody stand up, walk around, greet each other, and then we'll ask you to be quiet again when we get ready to go on. If you are at home this morning, take a moment to give yourself a hug, pour another cup of coffee or tea, and just welcome yourself to this morning. We'll all be back together in just a moment to sing the opening song. All right. You know, it's very important to take the opportunity to be greeted and welcomed. I know sometimes some of you just kind of hang back, and that's okay. But part of the process of engagement is that you receive and give that kind of greeting. So that's one of the reasons that we do that at the beginning, so that everybody has a chance to be acknowledged and seen and heard and included in this circle. So if you're at home, we're including you this morning, those of you that are watching us. This is the Sunday that we're lucky enough to have Josh Holmes returning with us. I know he's a favorite. And Josh is a vocalist, writer, producer. His work bridges spirituality, creativity, and human connection. And he is the former creative and events director for Unity in Marin. He collaborated for many years with Sue Ruda with Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living on special events that we did in a larger venue, and lots of creating uplifting music and community experiences. He was also Sue's caregiver in her later years, so he became even closer to us, and he continues to grow with us. So please stand and join us this morning for our opening song with Josh Holmes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So we've got some new fun stuff for you. This is going to open our hearts to everything that's going to happen. Hope you brought your singing voice. Open, open, my heart is open. And I say yes to this moment in time. Open, open, my heart is open. And I say yes to this feeling inside. Open, open, our minds are open. And we say yes to the truth that we find. Open, open, our minds are open, and we say yes to the knowing inside. Open, open, my eyes are open, and I say yes to the signs that I see. Open, open, my eyes are open, and I say yes to the light coming through me. Open, open, come on, my arms are open, hold your arms out. We say yes to the love in this place. Open, open, our arms are open, and we say yes to amazing, amazing grace. Ooh. We're gonna sing this like this. Go, we go. Oh, oh, oh. 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 All right. Let's do this again. Open, open. My heart is open. And I say yes to this moment in time. Open, open, my heart is open. And I say yes to this feeling inside. Come on, open, open, our minds are open. We say yes to the truth that we find. Open, open, our minds are open. We say yes to the knowing inside. We know, come on, you go. Open, open, my eyes are open. I say yes to the signs that I see. Open, open, my eyes are open. I say yes to the light, to the light. It's coming through me. It's coming through me. One more time, let's do it. Open, open, our arms are open. We say yes to the love in this place. Open, open, our arms are open. We say yes to amazing, amazing grace. Oh, 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 oh. Yeah, one more time. Amazing grace. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, oh, oh. Say yes to amazing grace. Thank you.
All right, now I'm going to encourage you to silence your cell phones. Take them out, make sure they're on silent. That way they won't disturb us in the midst of the service. And let's take some time now to get ourselves centered and grounded and connected within. So I'm inviting our morning prayer practitioner, Marilyn Letzos, up to give us our opening prayer right now.
And so we come to that place within us, that place that always has been and always will be, the secret, sacred place of the Most High within every person. And as I go within myself into that sacred space, I open to that which is always open, to that power, that presence, the infinite life, the power of love, that presence which has created everything and continues to create everything. And this presence is everywhere. It cannot be, it is impossible to be outside of spirit, outside of God. It is our heartbeat, our breath. And in this place, we find that within us which has never been touched by worry or fear, because it knows itself as that oneness, that eternal life. And I give thanks for this connection. I give thanks for that opening this morning. Open, ready to receive, because we are one with this power. And this power has already given all love, all joy, peace, power, the power of good, wholeness. We are whole and we are complete. And I give thanks for the ability to choose again and again to return to this truth that always sets us free. That in God, all things are possible. And whatever we think we are always more. And so I give thanks for the day. I give thanks that the moon is full and it's the first day of February, the month of love. And we get to have a lasagna feast today and enjoy our community and each other. And I am so grateful for that openness, for that availability, that readiness to receive. I give thanks that we are open to this service that Reverend Mary has prepared with spirit. And I give thanks for the fulfillment of that service, the fulfillment of love. And so I let this go, let it be. Join me in saying, and so it is. Amen.
When I am down and oh my soul so weary, when troubles come and my heart burdened be, then I am still and wait here in the silence until you sit and wait a while with me. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. Raise me up to more than I can be. raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. And I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can be. You raise me up to more than I can be.
Thank you, Josh. So because this is the year of sacred connections, every theme that we focus on throughout the year will have to do with some kind of connection. And the connection that we're looking at now that we're in the month of February is connecting to what is happening as we're moving on the bridge into spring. Now today, in Celtic tradition, is Imbolc, the feast of St. Bridget. It is midway between the winter solstice and the spring equinox. And in Celtic traditions, it's the beginning of spring. This is when the ewes have their little lambs and the season begins, the rebirth, the increase of light grows even more. So that's what we're looking at throughout the month. And last month, I was talking about the basic principles of science of mind, and I started talking about prayer and said that I would say more about prayer this week. So last week, I talked a little bit about the difference between a traditional prayer, the way that we have learned them in the past, and science of mind when we do a spiritual mind treatment. That form of prayer is a different, while we're praying for all the usual reasons that people pray, the form, the method, the manner are different in spiritual mind treatment. You know, a medical treatment has as its intention to cure or heal something. So a spiritual, not physical, a spiritual mind, not body, treatment is like a prescription or a healing procedure that we do in order to change our mind, in order to change ourselves. So whereas traditional prayer is something that we try to do to make an adjustment in what God is doing so we get what we want or whatever it is that we're looking for, when we do spiritual mind treatment, we recognize that God is all there is, has already given everything, has no intention or desire to withhold anything, and is fully present right here, right now. So when we're speaking of prayer, we're speaking with a recognition that there is within us some kind of a block to the awareness of that wholeness and generous goodness of God that is in our way. It's in our way from welcoming and experiencing what we want in our life. So we're actually praying from the consciousness of wholeness and speaking that word into that. In essence, we are working on creating a change within ourselves, in our belief, in our understanding, in our perception, so that we come into life differently and we're more aware or available to the good that's there for us. So spiritual mind treatment is a spiritual process with the intention to change our faith and our focus, to change our thinking, to adjust in our own minds. Now, the altar that Joe Hughes has done for us this morning is in honor of 5 Olympic skaters that she has. The opening ceremonies are Friday. And this is in honor of the Olympians and those particular skaters, but also our recognition of the importance of focus and faith in anything that we want to accomplish. And so when we bring our attention to prayer in Science of Mind, what we want to do is include the feeling of what we want, not just the idea or the words, right? So people get very tangled up sometimes with Science of Mind because they're trying to remember the form and the proper use of words, and it all seems very mental and linear and intellectual. But the way that we talk about the 2 aspects of prayer is the technique, which is all of that stuff, and the fire, which is the feeling. So our founder, Ernest Holmes, said in The Science of Mind, no class of people on earth believes more in prayer than we do. Our whole theory is based not only on the belief in spirit, but the availability of it, its immediate response. And then in Lessons in Spiritual Mind Healing, he says, spiritual mind healing is based upon the theory that every individual is perfect at his source. The source of every individual is pure, undifferentiated spirit. So let me have an aside for a second from the quote. What this is saying is that this appearance of us in time and space, in this particular incarnation, is just one aspect of who we are. The higher, fuller, broader self is more than this, but we process this much of it with these little brains while we're in these bodies, but there is much more to us, to every one of us. So he goes on to say, this spirit, the source that we're made from, this spirit is not sick, therefore it does not need to be healed. In spiritual mind healing, the belief alone needs to be changed, thus permitting a new flow of pure spirit unhampered by any thought of restriction or pain, etc. I said last week that when we pray, we don't talk about the condition. We don't describe to God how much we're suffering. It isn't like, hello, God, I know you're busy, and you probably don't care that much about me as this little person down here, but I'm having trouble. It's not that kind of prayer. It is a prayer that first goes to the feeling of that infinite presence. What allows us to turn our attention to that feeling? For many of us, it's something in nature, seeing everything blooming in the spring, driving past a hillside that's covered with sheep and little lambs, little tiny lambs. I always wondered why they were born in February. At the coldest time of the year, these little tiny, fragile things are born, and boy, they better hurry up and grow some wool fast if they don't want to freeze to death. This process is what is going on within us. The birth, the recognition then, a new recognition is like a new birth of something within us that has never been damaged or diminished and doesn't get old, It is fresh and abundant and ever growing and ever blossoming and ever developing. And after we come from the rest of winter, the rest period of winter, we're coming into that reawakening. This is the time for that. So the feeling of prayer is not the technique, it's the fire. We have the recognition that both of those things in an ideal prayer, both of those things are happening. Now, Holmes also reassures us that if we're not feeling particularly passionate, we're not feeling the fire of it particularly, that we shouldn't let that stop us from doing our prayer. We can go ahead and do the prayer as best we can, but the most powerful prayer is when we have the technique and the feeling. So let's set aside the technique for now. People get so nervous about getting the technique right. But even more than the technique is the feeling. We had a practitioner up in Santa Rosa that I swear when she did treatment for somebody just within herself, that there were no words, that it was a movement of feeling. That was the kind of energy she had as a practitioner. It was the movement of the recognition of feeling. So we supply the fire. We supply the passion, the feeling. It is a feeling of focus and faith. It is a feeling that chooses what we want to experience and has faith that not only is that possible, but that it is emerging through us right now, as long as we let it, as long as we stay focused in the faith that it is occurring and we allow it, even if it takes a while. Because for us, sometimes the realization of something, the making real of it, may take a while. In spirit, it's nothing. But for us, we are in time and space, so we experience it that way. We bring the faith to it. We bring the confidence to it. That faith and focus that holds the mark that we're aiming at, that is the focus. And we do it with confidence and with caring, with interest. Now, how many things, just think about this, how many things that really worry you or frustrate you do you talk about neutrally, calmly, with no attachment? Yeah, it doesn't happen, does it? When we're really upset about something, when we're really anxious about something, when we're really opposed to something or we're upset about it, we're not neutral when we talk about it. I have no idea what that is, but it's making a lot of noise. We're not neutral about it when we talk about it. And we don't just talk about it once. We tell everybody who listens, everybody who opens into that end of conversation, we have an opinion and we're not slow to state it. Does this make sense? That's what we need to do with our prayer. That's exactly what we need to do with our prayer, except that the energy of that enthusiasm, that repetition, that conviction is not focused on what we don't want and don't like and disapprove of. It's focused instead on what we want to experience and welcome and see and know in our lives. Now, because everybody is much more used to the negative side of it, we probably are more careful about who we go on and on about that kind of thing with, because they might just think we're nuts or delusional or Pollyanna-ish. I had somebody who was a friend get very upset with me during a time period when I wasn't working and I was looking for something, and we were low on income and we were living with friends, and this friend got really upset with me because I didn't show that I was out of my mind with worry, and she thought that was being hypocritical or false, that I wasn't being authentic. She didn't understand that I was practicing my faith by not letting myself go overboard into upset and worry, that was not a productive way for me to behave. Our friendship never recovered from that. So it's important that we recognize that not everybody gets what we're doing. So when we want to speak about this with enthusiasm or focus, we probably want to do it with people who get it. And even people here in our own community might not like it when you do that because they're still connected to the upset about the thing. Does that make sense? So if we find somebody's connected to the upset about it, rather than jump in there with them, we can just listen and nod and in our heads say what that great metaphysician said years ago, "'Tain't so." Just say it in your head, "'Tain't so." But it's okay if you want to believe it right now. We don't say that. We just hold a space for them. That's all, rather than argue. Because when you argue with somebody about what they're already believing and upset about, they tend to dig in. Have you noticed? They tend to dig in and it makes that belief even stronger. So pushing against them is not the way to do it. So when we're moving into this, Meister Eckhart, the great German mystic, said the most powerful prayer, one well nigh omnipotent, and the worthiest work of all is the outcome of a quiet mind. The quieter it is, the more powerful, the worthier, the deeper, the more telling and the more perfect the prayer is. To the quiet mind, all things are possible. What is a quiet mind? A quiet mind is one which nothing weighs on, nothing worries, which, free from ties and all self-seeking, is wholly merged into the will of God. So for us to have a quiet mind means that we need a space where we can let go of those upsets and complaints, at least for a period of time. And maybe one way for us to do that is to pick a 10 or 15 minute period in the day when we're going to go ahead and rant and rave and be upset and swear and fuss and make a big deal out of everything we don't like. And after that 15 minutes is over, you can set an alarm for yourself. After that 15 minutes is over, that's it, you're done for that day, no more. If it comes back, you go, no, I'll get back to you tomorrow. That's not happening now. I'm not doing any more of that today. Instead, I'm focused on the good. It's not going to be easy, but that doesn't mean it isn't powerful or important. Henri Nouwen, another Christian mystic, said, why is it so important that you are with God and God alone on the mountaintop? It's important because it's the place where you can listen to the voice of the one who calls you the beloved. To pray is to listen to the one who calls you my beloved daughter, my beloved son, my beloved child. To pray is to let that voice speak to the center of your being, to your guts, and let that voice resound in your whole being. Because it's always there. We call it the still small voice because the voice of the news is so much louder. The voice of everybody who wants your donation is so much louder, right? So we need to draw away to come into a quieter place where we can listen to something else. And I love this little story. There are 4 rabbis who were very good friends with each other, and they would get together and discuss theological precepts and kind of argue with one another. And 3 of them were always in agreement. And the 4th one was the odd man out all the time. So one day, after the usual 3-to-1 majority rules, kind of statement that signified he'd lost another argument, he decided to appeal to a higher authority. Oh God, he prayed aloud, I know in my heart that I'm right and they're wrong. Please give me a sign to prove it to them. And it was a beautiful sunny day. As soon as the rabbi finished his prayer, though, a storm cloud moved across the sky just above the 4 of them. It rumbled loudly once and then dissolved. And he cried, you see, a sign from God. I'm right. But the other 3 disagreed, as usual, pointing out that storm clouds often formed on hot days. So the rabbi prayed aloud again. God, I need a bigger sign to show that I'm right and they're wrong. Please, God, a bigger sign. This time, 4 storm clouds appeared, rushed toward each other to form one big cloud, and a bolt of lightning slammed into a tree on a nearby hill. I told you I was right, the rabbi insisted. But his friend said that nothing had happened that could not be explained by natural causes. Well, the rabbi was getting ready to ask for a very big sign, but just as he said, "Oh God," the sky turned pitch black, the earth shook, and a deep booming voice came forth saying, "He's right." And the fourth rabbi put his hands on his hips and, smiling ear to ear, turned to the other three and said, "Well?" "So," shrugged one of the other rabbis, "now it's 3-2. When we're really listening to the infinite, we are in the process then of finding that something can be heard that is different than that loud voice of the common ideas and thinking and perception and insistence. Yeah? So we're moving that fire forward. And the fire that we're seeking is really this deep sense of feeling connected to the presence. Holmes says in Pray and Prosper, spiritual communion is deeper than intellectual perception. The prayer of the intellect may be perfect in form, but this form must be warmed and colored by feeling and conviction. The more we do spiritual mind treatment, the more comfortable it becomes to us, the more the feeling and the conviction come into play, bigger and fuller and more colorful and louder than before. The feeling of prayer is first that feeling of being connected to the infinite, not aiming for something far away outside of ourselves, but feeling. See that, I was thinking this morning that we're connected to everything that is or ever was. So why not invite into our sanctuary with us all of those who have ever been part of Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living who have gone on into the next life? Why not invite all of them to simply hang out with us here? Who knows, maybe they're already here. And beyond them, we also, and two of our ministers are here, right? We also open to the divine presence in this place. We open to recognizing that that infinite consciousness is already here. It hasn't gone anywhere. It's only our awareness of it that got distracted. That presence is right here, right now. So we know that we're connected to the one, and that that one has created everything, everything, everything. Even the things that human beings have made came through this idea factory that flows through us all the time. It started in mind, and then it became something we imagined or saw or envisioned. And then it became a thing. This is like the process that an engineer goes through, right? The idea from somewhere, the process of envisioning it, and then bringing it forward into being. It's the same kind of process, except with the infinite, it's instantaneous. So that's happening in us. We recognize that creative energy is not something we made or know how to make, but it lives in us and it's everywhere, as well as that presence. And then we come into the knowing, the remembering that that is us right here, right now. That is each one of us. At the same time, that same presence, that same energy, that same creative process and ability is right here, yeah? And from knowing, we step into conviction. Now, I speak the word now that I have felt that presence and know its power, and that I am a part of that, I'm made from that, I am that in expression, then I can speak from that place with a sense of conviction and authority, with that focus and faith, because I am remembering and knowing and realizing at the fullest level of my being that that is right here for me in me. And lastly, trusting that that is taking place, that the word I have spoken is being brought forward in that automatic creative process that operates in me as it does in the infinite. It's happening. And this quote from Rumi says, remember the entrance door to the sanctuary is inside you. If we can't feel it, who shut the door? So we do this in order to make ourselves more available to a greater truth than what we've seen so far, to a greater truth than what we've believed up until now, to a greater truth than what we have experienced in our entire life. We open into that unknown. It could be a little scary. We open and invite it in. Meister Eckhart said, the eye with which I see God is the same with which God sees me. My eye and God's eye is one eye and one sight and one knowledge and one love. So yes, we have the technique. And by the way, just in case you hear this somewhere else and it amazes you or you didn't know it, the word treatment, just that word by itself, treatment, comes from Christian Science. And so does the word practitioner. Because Ernest Holmes looked into Christian Science and he loved that term. Now, we use practitioner for people who offer massage, people who do other kinds of healing modalities. They are practitioners of that modality. We are practitioners of spiritual mind treatment. And the treatment is the best word I think he could find for what it's intended to do. It is intended to be healing, to be possibly curative of a condition, but to simply be healing of the consciousness. And so, Brother Lawrence, who was one of those people who, like Byron Katie and Eckhart Tolle, just woke up one day, he said, there is not in the world a kind of life more sweet and delightful than that of a continual conversation with God. He got into a conversation with God that he was so absorbed in that nothing else really distracted him except that, you know, as a brother, Brother Lawrence was considered a little bit dopey, a little bit absent-minded. And so they wanted to put him somewhere he couldn't mess anything up because he was distracted by his conversation with God. He was totally involved in that. So they finally had him work in the kitchen and prepare food and serve the meals, because when he did that, at least hopefully, he wouldn't break too much crockery, he wouldn't burn too much food, he would get things done. The only problem was he was so absorbed in the divine that he did have a tendency to levitate off the ground. And that made it more difficult. So they would tie stones around him to hold him down. It didn't always work, but they did that so he could go about his work as a brother. But he was not distressed by that because he was immersed in this ongoing conversation with God. And it was quite clear that the conversation was pretty powerful. So, Ernest Holmes, our founder, said, if we wish to demonstrate that prayer or spiritual communion is a potent force, we must believe that both the energy and divine action are at our disposal. That the creative genius of the universe is already wherever we focus our attention. It's not like we're establishing the presence there in what we want to see. It's already there. We're just recognizing the path opened up before us. So we have the technique, the 5 steps, the logical sequence of thought within that, and its purpose is to change us. Right, that's fine. But this talk is about the fire. The fire, which is probably more important. We had a practitioner up in Santa Rosa. Her husband had been the minister of the church in Santa Rosa. And Frida was one of the original hand-picked practitioners that Ernest Holmes used to have come to the Institute when it was in Los Angeles and pray every week for the movement. There was a handful of them. They came in every single week. Now, Frida was nearly 6 feet tall. Ernest Holmes was shorter than I am, I think. So he would stand on the top step at the Institute to greet them as they arrived, and he would say in his New England accent, "Here comes Frida," when Frida would arrive. Now, one of the things that Frida told me about getting the prayer list from the church in Santa Rosa, everybody that had made a prayer request in the prayer box during that week, when she would get the list, she said, "I spend most of my time in the first 2 steps of treatment. That is, God is, and I am that." I spend most of my time in the first 2 steps, she said, because once I really have the feeling of those first 2 steps, the rest of it takes care of itself. It's just about automatic. So when we're talking about the fire, the feeling of prayer, we're really talking about hanging out in that God is, I am place. And that might be the most important 2 steps of the whole thing. Because once we're in that space, we're not dwelling in the condition anymore. We've already taken ourselves out of the condition. Now, that doesn't mean we shouldn't go on with the rest of the treatment, just that there's power, real power, in those first 2 steps. So we don't want to rush those. We want to hang out in the deepening, in the connecting, in the feeling, so that we are anchored in God before we even really speak about what we're declaring into form. Does this make sense, what I'm saying to you? Holmes goes on to say in The Science of Mind, a practitioner, and right now he's speaking of anybody who practices, a practitioner uses thought, definitely, and for specific purposes. The more definitely he uses the law, the more directly it will respond. A false fact, and he's talking about false beliefs, false ideas, things that seem real to us and we believe them, but they're not actually true. A false fact is neither person, place, nor thing to the one who uncovers it. And once uncovered, it has no place in which to hide. Change the consciousness and the false condition will disappear. Because it is the belief, the consciousness that anchors it in place. Once you take the anchor away, it dissolves. That's putting it much more simply than we experience it in time and space. Nevertheless, this is the process that we're engaged in. We are recognizing how the technique and the fire work together. So that faith and focus that we bring, children often bring automatically, not in the 5 steps, but in feeling. So this is a story about children whose behavior had a healing impact. Like most elementary schools, it was typical to have, oh wait, is that where it starts? Yeah, that's where it starts. It was typical to have a parade of students in and out of the health clinic throughout the day. We dispensed ice for bumps and bruises, Band-Aids for cuts, and liberal doses of sympathy and hugs. As the principal, my office was right next door to the clinic, so I often dropped in to lend a hand and help out with the hugs. I knew that for some kids, mine might be the only one they got all day. One morning, I was putting a Band-Aid on a little girl with a scraped knee. Her blonde hair was matted, and I noticed that she was shivering in her thin little sleeveless blouse. I found her a warm sweatshirt and helped her put it on. "Thanks for taking care of me," she whispered as she climbed into my lap and snuggled up against me. It wasn't long after that when I ran across an unfamiliar lump under my arm. Cancer, an aggressive spreading kind, had already invaded 13 of my lymph nodes. I pondered whether or not to tell the students about my diagnosis. The word breast seemed so hard to say out loud to them, and the word cancer seemed so frightening. But when it became evident that the children were going to find out one way or another, either the straight scoop from me or possibly a garbled version from someone else, I decided to tell them. It wasn't easy to get the words out, but the empathy and concern on their faces as I explained it to them told me I'd made the right decision. When I gave them a chance to ask questions, they mostly wanted to know how they could help. I told them that what I would like best would be letters, pictures, and prayers. I stood by the gym door as the children solemnly filed out, and my little blonde friend darted out of the line and threw her arms around my neck. Then she stepped back to look up into my face. "Don't be afraid, Dr. Perry," she said earnestly. "I know you'll be back because now it's our turn to take care of you." No one could have ever done a better job. The kids sent me off to my first chemotherapy session with a hilarious book of nausea remedies that they had written. A video of every class in the school singing Get Well songs accompanied me to my next chemotherapy appointment. By the third visit, the nurses were waiting at the door to find out what I would bring next. It was a delicate music box that played "I Will Always Love You." Even when I went into isolation at the hospital for a bone marrow transplant, the letters and pictures kept coming until they covered every wall in my room. And then the kids traced their hands onto colored paper, cut them out, and glued them together to make a freestanding rainbow of helping hands. "I feel like I've stepped into Disneyland every time I walk into this room," my doctor laughed. That was even before the 6-foot apple blossom tree arrived, adorned with messages written on paper apples from the students and the teachers. What healing comfort I found in being surrounded by these tokens of their care. At long last, I was well enough to return to work. As I headed up the road to the school, I was suddenly overcome with doubts. What if the kids have forgotten all about me? I wondered. What if they don't want a skinny, bald principal? What if... I caught sight of the school marquee as I rounded the bend. "Welcome back, Dr. Perry," it read. As I drew closer, everywhere I looked, there were pink ribbons. Ribbons in the windows, ribbons tied on the doorknobs, even up in the trees. The children and staff wore pink ribbons too. My little blonde buddy was first in line to greet me. "You're back, Dr. Perry. You're back," she called. "See, I told you we'd take care of you." That is the focus and faith. What these kids and their teachers did week after week, month after month for Dr. Perry was prayer. But it was done in the feeling. It was done with the faith and the focus of caring for her so that she could heal. That was all prayer, and they probably spent much more time on it than anybody sat down and said, "Dear God, please take care of Dr. Perry." Much longer process of caring and love went in every one of these creations, and all of them were prayer. Khalil Gibran says prayer and work are love in action. So this was prayer in action that was taking place. Now, I'm going to tell you in a little while about an opportunity to do something similar. But right now, let's move into prayer to anchor this awareness of the whole prayer coming forth through us right now. So as we turn within, we recognize one life, one presence, much, much more immense than anything I have yet turned my mind to, is the presence of the divine. Its creativity, its power, its continual presence and activity are vast, tireless, infinite, eternal, taking place right here in this room, right around me, right now, and within me, because that presence is what I am. It's what I am made from. And I speak this word for all of us in this room and everyone watching this video or listening to this prayer, recognizing and knowing that each one is that. Right where we stand or sit or listen at this moment, there is nothing but the presence of God. And it is whole, creative, abundant. It is flowing through me and through us now as the fire, the focus, the faith, the passion in the word spoken, in the feeling attached, in the repetition involved. I am so grateful to remember this, to feel it, to accept it, and to send it forth in this prayer. I'm grateful for the prayer and for this creative law, this process that is taking place on these words right now, allowing the greater awareness and wholeness of God to be known, to be felt, to be loved and used as the fire in this prayer. I send this word forth with great gratitude and peace into that creative law, and I simply let it be so. And so together, right now, we accept it as we say together, and so it is. Yes. Please stand now and join me for the morning affirmation. Oh, we did this already. Yeah. We say this together. I choose the fire of focus and faith in my prayers. I know the automatic process of creation responds with yes. I speak my word now with confidence, fully focused on the good I am welcoming and releasing all that is unlike it. And so it is. You may be seated. Would the ushers please come forward now? If you're with us online and you'd like to make a donation to Golden Gate, we would be so happy to welcome that. We want to bless the offerings you're making today as well as the ones in this room. You can do that by texting the dollar amount you want to give to the number that's on the screen and then just following the directions. In this room, all the donations that are being given today, all those you have given automatically over the past week, and the very gift that each one of us is. This is what we're blessing together right now. So I invite you to put your hands over your heart. If you're giving your gift today, put it over your heart as well. But let's recognize that what we're blessing, the gift we're blessing, is as much or maybe even more us than it is what is given in form. So we say this together. This gift I give is God in action. I now send it forth to bless and to prosper. I know that everywhere it goes, it is creating a world living in love, one heart and one thought at a time. And so it is. Please go ahead. Josh, it's all yours.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm so glad to be here.
Good morning.
I really appreciate you having me. And I am really excited about making new music these days. I have some new tools that have come to us from the world of AI, where I get to requisition singers. I get to requisition a choir. And you're going to hear my choir today. And I want someday for you all to learn one of these songs and be in the choir. Mm-hmm. And I want to bring other choir members and have a real choir. But for now, we have the choir that I have imagined into this world. And when I was writing this song, I was thinking about a combination of things. I was thinking about practitioners. I was thinking about treatment and what happens in that moment and how important that is and how it projects out into the world and how the world needs that so much. And so I just wanted to share that so when you hear the words, you'll maybe understand a little bit more about what was coming from my heart. This is definitely the feeling part. that you were talking about. Can I have a little bit more monitor? Give me a reason to believe the worst is over. Let's take a moment of this life. Let's take this breath and think things over. We can find a way to make things right. Every breath can take you there. Every second is a second chance. Close your eyes, take my hand, understand. I'll give you the world, not the one. Recognize there's a mountain you know that we're gonna find. Know you can find it, know you can shine. You have everything inside. Give me a prayer so deep within your heart you can never shake loose or come apart. Just be yourself, you being you. That's where this world will find another way to start.
I'll give you the world.
Every breath
Not the one.
takes you there.
There's a mountain you know that we're gonna find.
Know you can find it, know you can shine.
Know you can climb it.
Feel the divine. Feel it inside. Ooh, spirit alive. Open your heart to this other place. Being yourself
It's the better place.
know that I'm seeing the best in you.
See the best and it's true, I do.
Rise from these ashes.
Make a joyful
Take a stand.
rise from these ashes to higher ground.
Feel what was here.
Feel what was here all along.
Take a hand. I'll give you the mountain top to find. I'll give you everything, free your mind. Love divine.
I'll give you the world.
Every breath. I'll give you the
I'll give you the
world.
mountain top to climb.
And we can share.
I'll give you everything, free your mind.
I'll give you.
I'll give you the world.
I'll give you the world. It's here all the time. I'll give you the world.
mountain
It's
top
only
to
mine.
I'll
I'll
give you everything, free your mind.
mine.
I'll give you the world.
I'll give you the world, the one that's free. So put down your broken and come with me. Every breath, every circle around the sun. Every second is a second chance. Every second is a second chance. Let's make this one.
So all of us together on behalf of Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living accept this offering and send it out into the world for greater awareness of that presence all around us. And so it is. For those of you who are here for the first time today, please direct your attention back to the table back here where we have all of our little handouts and affirmation cards. Please pick up a welcome packet back there and take the blue card out of it and fill that out and give it back to Galen, who's waving it around back there. She's going to give you a little book as our thank you to you for being here today, and also an invitation to come back and be with us in the future as well. And I want to extend a special thanks to everybody who serves today. Particularly, I want to say to the men's group, although they're not on this list, for putting together the brunch for us today. To Josh for the music, to Joe for the altar, and everybody else who's giving us their time and talent to get it going. Also, if your birthday is this month, it's February, please stand. We want to sing you happy birthday. Just Galen? Are you the only one? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Oh, you too. Day, dear February. Happy birthday to you. Woo. All right. Now, I also want to tell you that in addition to having the brunch today, we have our Ukraine tables up over there, and this is your opportunity to do the kind of thing for the kids and the teachers over there who are living with 4 years of war to go forward. They have not only the cards to be made out, so the cards look like this on one side. They have a Russian affirmation and then in English with some kind of image. The back side is yours to decorate. There are stickers and pens and stuff over there. And just leave that then with the Ukraine team because these are going to get mailed. So they're doing a fundraiser today for mailing. And they're selling the pens with sunflowers. These are $3. Or you can get a pin, that's a sunflower, for $3. Or you can get this little sweater creation. Remember when sweaters, when caps and blankets were made for Ukraine from the Corps of Madeira knitting group? So Linda Veronin did this. They're little tiny sweaters, and you can send this as a warm, loving thing in a card to somebody as their little recognition that you're loved. So this green one is like for St. Patrick's Day. These are $5. They have a red one for Valentine's Day, a deep red one for Chinese New Year. They have blue and yellow ones for Ukraine, and you can buy those at the table over there. But also, because we'll all be in line for our brunch today, we're going to encourage you, while you're waiting to find a space in line, to go over there and decorate a couple of cards or look at what they have for sale, because this fundraiser will help pay for postage and shipping and handling to send these cards. And I want to show you, I have a whole little sequence here to show you that Reverend Barbara put together, Dr. Barbara Leger, about Opportunity Ukraine, which is something that Golden Path of Peace is doing with us and with other communities that support them to find ways to support these teachers and their kids, to let them know they're not alone, that we haven't forgotten them. These are some of the kids with cards that we've sent. And they have moved now with their families to like different cities. They're going to different schools. Everything in their lives is different. But when they get these cards from us, they know that we haven't forgotten them. Here's some more kids with cards, older kids with cards. And these postcards make a big difference because they let them know that people in other parts of the world know about them and care about them and are remembering them. So here are some of the cards that were sent from the United States to them. And this is what the cards look like on the flip side. These are the ones that you're going to see over here, that you're decorating the back side of those to go to these people. It takes a few minutes to make one. You have no idea how encouraging it could be on a day when all of these kids are attending classes in bomb shelters, because where else are they going to go? And to be in a bomb shelter for your class is a difficult thing. So we're sending them love, affirmations, and prayers. Remember, when you're writing these cards, you want to print print your, can you still hear me? Okay. Yes, you can still hear me. You want to print, because they're not going to read cursive English, print your card and use bright colors and make it uplifting, because what they're seeing is not so uplifting right now. So if you remember all the things that were knitted, that were created, that to be sent to them, these are wearing some of the hats that were sent. Here are more people with various blankets. They're called comfort blankies. And those go to teachers, to students, and so on. The bottom is the knitting group, and of course our own Deborah Irwin, who helped shepherd that. And this is one girl who'd been complaining that she was cold and so was her dog, and she's got them wrapped in this blanket that came from our knitters here. So this is part of what we're doing, just like those children. We're helping their principal heal. We're encouraging them to hang in there, to keep going, to have faith, to be strong, and to know that we're with them. So while you're waiting for your place in line for lunch, go over and do a couple of cards, buy a pen, buy a little sweater, and send these off to remind other people. Send these in a card of your own choice. This is, it has an envelope, but it doesn't have a card in it, I don't think. Send these off to people that you care about to remind them what is going on. So we just want to let you know that's taking place this morning along with the men's brunch. And as you've heard, the men's brunch is salad and lasagna. It's $10. It's going to be out here momentarily. And we encourage you, the proceeds come back to the church, so that's wonderful. Also, a new thing we're offering you, one of our licensed prayer practitioners, Jeannie Stone, is going to start doing office hours at our office starting this week on Thursday. She'll be there from 10 to 4 every Thursday. And if you'd like to make an appointment to sit with a practitioner, you can contact her. Both her email and her phone number are here on the screen. You can contact her and set up a time when you'd like to come in and sit with her at the office. So that's something that she is looking forward to, participating and supporting the community that way. Also, our monthly faith conversation and coffee is coming up at 10 a.m. at Cafe Aroma on the 11th of February. That's a Wednesday. It's the second Wednesday of every month, no matter what it says on the website. I screwed something up, but it is the second Wednesday. And also, this month, our Sacred Service team for the food bank is going to be meeting on the 17th of February, just a few days after Valentine's Day. If you would like to participate at the warehouse in San Rafael this month, talk to Ellen Nicosia, who's right here. Her contact info is also on the screen. She needs to turn in your names by the 10th of February so that the food bank knows who's coming. So talk to her this morning. You have until February 10th to get to Ellen. That's 9 more days, and let her know you want to be part of that team. If you would like a prayer this morning, we have practitioners available, and these are good practitioners. They're really great for prayer. If you've got anything bugging you this morning, do this before you go to the Ukraine table and get your lunch. That's what they're here for. And you can also put in a written request there at the table. Would the practitioners please stand and surround the room as we pray out right now? Let us know together, every one of us, that just as these practitioners surround us, that all of the practitioners we've ever had at Golden Gate energetically also surround us and know the truth for us and with us right now, that one infinite presence in this place sees right through the conditions that we're experiencing, is in our hearts and in our minds, helping to adjust and correct any negative impressions that we have that are causing us pain, any cemented ideas that we've been believing that are creating havoc in our lives. We are open to the knowingness that fills this place, that we are whole, complete, and perfect right now, just as we are. And everything unlike that in consciousness is being dissolved in this very moment. We give thanks for this, and we open to this greater healing and wholeness with love and acceptance. And together we say, and so it is. Yes, please stand and join us for the closing prayer and song, the closing blessing and song. As we say this closing blessing together, I now walk so that whoever walks beside me dwells in the presence of God, and whoever places a hand in mine is lifted, and whoever thinks of me is illumined with God consciousness, for spirit and all people and I are one eternally, and so it is. And here we go.
Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say,